Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. What's up, guys? So this is going to be my 6.0.2 Fury Warrior guide. I'm going to try to make this fairly comprehensive because I know a lot of you guys have been asking about this. And Fury does seem to be a pretty powerful spec for patch 6.02 for Warriors, so I want to go over this. Keep in mind that Fury has recently received nerfs, and it's not like, okay, Fury's nerfed, you can't play it anymore. That's not really the message I'm trying to relate. The message is lots of things are subject to change. So in terms of how powerful the class is related to other classes, that's not really much as much what I'm going to be focusing on. More what I'm going to be focusing on is how to set up a Fury Warrior to be as effective as you can be, or at least have some fun. So let's get right to it. Alright, so if you log into your Fury Warrior in patch 6.0.2, you are going to notice that a lot of the things that you had before were missing. A lot of these things are very similar to what you've lost with arms. You know, you don't have banners to use for your teammates. You don't have them to intervene to. Your intervene doesn't break roots. You don't have shield wall. A lot of the things that you noticed with arms. However, Fury also no longer has Colossus Smash, and I know that a lot of Fury Warriors like to burst with that Colossus Smash window, and I understand that. However, I do encourage you, if you haven't tried Fury yet, to give it a shot, because it does have a really fluid and fun playstyle, in my opinion. It does deal pretty good damage, despite the damage nerfs it has received recently. I'm sure it's still an effective and fun class. Your main abilities, we can just go ahead and just check out right here. As it says right here, your main abilities are, you know, you're going to use Charge to get some Rage. You're also going to be able to use Bloodthirst to get some Rage. One of the cool things is Bloodthirst does have a 30% chance to be a critical strike, and that compounded with the pretty high crit value you already have, you're going to be enraged a lot, which will allow you to use Raging Blow. Pretty heavy damage dealing ability right there. It does have a limit of 2 charges, but if you want to save them up, you can, and then you can go for 2 big hits right back to back. You also definitely want to make use of Wild Strike. Wild Strike is a high rage cost ability, but it deals a lot of damage, and it also makes it so that they have a healing debuff on them, healing reduction debuff. So you can also get this from Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst gives you a chance to have 2 charges of Wild Strike that cost no rage, and you can use them in a pretty quick succession for a lot of bursts. So as you can see, if you can get some stacked up Raging Blow and Wild Strikes with your Enrage, you can end up dealing a lot of damage. Plus, you got Execute, always good to try to finish an enemy off. And in terms of your talents, one of the things that I recommend for your talents is obviously, you know, try things that you like. I think the Charge talent's really up to you guys. I like Juggernaut just because it's a consistent baseline thing. You get the Charge often, get Rage often. Some people like Double Time, go for it. And if you want that stun, go for Warbringer. But that 20-second cooldown feels real long to me. In terms of your healing talents, it's hard for me to recommend anything but Enraged Regen right now. Maybe Second Wind if you're feeling like you can really dish out some DPS, or you like to live on the edge. You know, you like to get a little bit low health and see if you can fight your way out of situations like that. Maybe try Second Wind. Impending Victory, it's kind of a cool ability. It gives you 15% of your maximum health on like a 30-second cooldown. Deals damage, but it does cost 10 rage. So if you're completely rage starved, sometimes you're going to be left without your healing ability. Enraged Regen, it's on a 1-minute cooldown. It heals you for 10% of your maximum health, and additional 20% over 5 seconds. So, and that's usual while stun, so that's pretty cool too. And once again, when it comes to the level 45 talents, I think this is where you see like the biggest decision a warrior is going to have to make, and it's the talent choice that actually ends up determining how you're going to play your class. I feel more than any other talent decisions. Right here you have a choice between Furious Strikes. Furious Strikes is a passive that makes Wild Strikes cost 25 less rage, so 20 rage. So you can dish out tons of Wild Strikes for some serious bursts with that. Sudden Death. Sudden Death is the same thing as with arms. Your auto attacks give you a 20% chance to make your next execute cost no initial rage and be usable on any target regardless of their health level. So it's going to give you executes. I mean, if you have a 20% chance on your auto attacks and you're going to be auto attacking, you know, at least twice as often since you have 2 weapons, Sudden Death might be a fun thing to try out, especially as a single-minded Fury Warrior. I don't know if the proc rate decreases. Sometimes it works like that, but it just says 20% chance, and if you're attacking a lot, you know, maybe you're going to get lots of execute procs. But my favorite is still Unquenchable Thirst. It means that Bloodthirst no longer has a cooldown. This allows you to do a couple things. So it's going to allow you to stay enraged, basically because you have Bloodthirst without a cooldown. So you can use it often, you know, often enough until you get that crit, and then you get enraged, which is going to give you a Raging Blow stack. And it's going to sometimes give you a chance to have 2 Wild Strikes for free. So, and it's, you know, on top of that, it's also going to give you a good amount of healing. and Rage. So Bloodthirst Bloodthirst having no cooldown is a big deal, and I really like this talent a lot, and I'd recommend you guys try it out. But definitely, hey, if you guys like the other talents, go for it. I can see Sudden Death being pretty fun for a single-minded Fury Warrior because they're going to get bigger executes and maybe even more often, so that's pretty cool. I'm choosing Stormbolt. I mean, any of these talents are fine. I know some people like just bursting people down the Dragon Roar. I still find that damage not worth it. But hey, go for it if you want to. Shockwave, still a strong ability. I like it if you're fighting melee cleaves like a TSG. You can catch the Warrior, the Death Knight, and the Death Knight pet in it every time, and I have a constant 20-second cooldown on it. That is sick. But for me, I find Stormbolt to just be pretty reliable. It's ranged, it's on a 30-second cooldown, 4-second stun, just the solid choice, and the one I'm using right now. And the 75 talents, I'm choosing Safeguard, but hey, if you like these talents, go for it. I mean, there's not a lot of changes that we're seeing, except for the level 45 talents and the 30 talents. These things, the Safeguard, like I said, it doesn't break roots anymore, so that might make it a little bit less appealing to you guys. But, you know, Mass Spell Reflection has changed too. It basically just replaces your Spell Reflect and makes it a Mass Spell Reflect. So, you know, maybe if you're fighting cleaves, or it's like spell cleaves, and you want to be reflecting more than one spell at the same time, or you're fighting a Destruction Warlock and you want to reflect their puny Chaos Bolts back at them, go for it. But I'm still using Safeguard. Vigilance, maybe if you're having trouble with the cleave and you want to try to protect your healer for 12 seconds with a bit of a damage reduction, that's always a good choice. For level 90 talents, I think any of these are good for Fury. I like using an ability on a 1-minute cooldown, which is Bloodbath. Gives me a slow, gives me a little bit of damage stacking on top of my damage already. Bladestorm, I know that Bladestorm is dealing a lot of damage right now. If you guys want to give it a try, absolutely go for it. And Avatar is always a strong choice for just getting that 20% damage increase and blowing people up with your mastery. Which brings me to our gem setup. So for the gem setup, I'm using the same sort of setup that I was using for my Arms Warrior, which is basically just mastery everywhere you can. I do have to correct myself a little bit on the Arms Warrior guide, or the Arms Warrior gemming guide. I said that PvP power and resilience no longer in the game. That is not true. They are in the game. They still affect your character. There's just nowhere to see it on your character pane. So that makes me think that it might only be one of those things they're leaving in the game for lower levels, and there will not be PvP power and resilience in the level 100 sort of side of things. However, you will have versatility, and you can see the versatility behave a lot like PvP power and resilience do combined. So there's that to consider. But if you want to have those for this little downtime, or maybe if you're making a twink, if you want to have those PvP power and I guess just it's only PvP power, no resilience, gem sockets, bonuses. But if you want to have those PvP power bonuses, go for it. But right now, I'm just going full mastery in just about every socket. You can see mastery. I disregard socket bonuses on pretty much everything, except for up here. I go for the strength socket bonus, so I'm getting the 20 crit strike in my belt and my gloves, and then I'm going full mastery outside of that. And what ends up happening with that is that you get a nice 32% crit chance, just about 11.6% haste, and like 42% mastery. And your mastery is not like Arms where it's only a couple attacks. It increases all damage done while in rage. So that's going to be scaling up your auto attacks. It's going to be scaling up, you know, obviously your Bloodthirst, Raging Blow, and Wild Strike, but also your Whirlwinds. You know, things even like Stormbolt, things like your Bloodbath are going to be scaled with mastery. So that's pretty cool, and that ends up dealing a lot of damage, especially if you are using the talent Unquenchable Thirst. You can basically keep yourself perma-enraged all the time, and you're going to be getting 42% damage increase as a result of that perma-enrage. And another fun thing that you can do if you are going to stay perma-enraged is a glyph that I want to show you. So my glyph situation, pretty standard. I mean, I'm using Glyph of Bull Rush for the extra rage. Always rage is good. Glyph of Bloodthirst for the extra healing. And this third glyph slot, I'm probably going to end up switching out. Like I said, pretty much, I really like this glyph, this Rallying Cry glyph. It makes your defensive cooldown like that much more powerful to have a leech effect attached to it. But in the meantime, when I'm just running around doing battlegrounds, having fun, I'm staying basically perma-enraged, and I'm running 20% faster by using the Glyph of Enraged speed. For right now, I think that you can pretty much use any glyph in that slot. Sometimes you might want to use an Ending Rage. Sometimes you might want to use Rude Interruption for that extra damage. But the little speed boost that you get from Glyph of Enraged speed is pretty fun. And I've been having a lot of funny moments just chasing people down like on their mounts while they're hamstrung, and I'm just like outrunning them because I have Glyph of Enraged speed locked in. But in terms of your glyphs, talents, and gems, that's how that's looking. In terms of your rotation, we can take a look at that real quick if you want to as well. So for your rotation, it's not going to be anything too crazy. Like we suggested before, let me charge again, maybe getting a hamstring with a Bloodthirst, and you can see I got Enraged instantly, give me a stack of Raging Blow. I'm going to use that bad boy, start dishing out some Wild Strikes here and there. We got 2 back-to-back. Using Bloodthirst whenever I don't have anything else to do. I mean, I feel like I enjoy pooling my rage a little bit as Fury, just because it ends up unleashing insane bursts, especially within rage. So if you want to pull your rage all the way up, and this is where that unending rage glyph comes in handy, because if you can get a full 120 rage, you know, you can unload a lot of damage in a very short time. You know, 2 raging blows, a couple wild strikes. It gets pretty serious. I can see why people are enjoying Fury so much. I've been having a lot of fun with it in Battlegrounds, and I think you guys will enjoy it too. Another thing I didn't mention is that you do have Piercing Howl here. So you can Piercing Howl, get a nice AoE slow. You don't have Thunderclap, but these sort of do the same thing now, except without doing damage. Another thing you might want to consider is if you're in a big group of people, you can use your Whirlwind to stack up the buff that's called Meat Cleaver right here, which increases the number of targets hit by Raging Blow by 3. So you get that Whirlwind stacked up, you get a Raging Blow, and then you hit, you know, everybody for a lot of damage right there. So that's something that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and at least I can use a Glyph of Burning Anger on Fury. So once you catch on, or once you get enraged, you do catch on fire, which looks pretty sick. So something to consider with Fury. Just a couple of neat tricks. In terms of macros, I really don't have any macros, honestly, at this point. I'm using basic focus macros and the same sort of macro to cast Battle Shout and put me in or whatever shout I want and put me in a stance. Other than that, things are pretty simple for Fury, but still a lot of fun. See if I can do this again. This is too cool. By the way, I don't know, I might make a funny video about this, but basically with Heroic Leap now, I mean, that's what I did at the beginning of it. Basically, with Heroic Leap, if there's a path, there's a leap, so keep that in mind too. But anyway, that doesn't really have anything to do with Fury in particular. But that's going to bring us to the end of this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm more than happy to make guides about the other classes that I play, Death Knight, Paladin. See? He's following me around. He can do it too. There you go. he learned something new too. But I'll be planning to make guides about other classes that I play here pretty soon. You know, Death Knight, Paladin, Enhancement. And if you guys like them, just be sure to keep showing them some love, and I'll keep cranking them out for you. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!